I guess I should have known. People see the chair before they see me. The words came out as barely a whisper, but Preston Callahan heard them from 6 feet away. He'd been walking past the cafe with his 4-year-old niece, Harper, when the sound of quiet crying stopped him cold. At 33, Preston had learned to notice what others overlooked. As CEO of a healthcare tech company, he'd built his career on seeing problems others ignored. But this wasn't business. This was a woman in a wheelchair, alone at a table set for 2, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Harper tugged his sleeve. "Uncle Preston, why is the pretty lady crying?" The woman looked up, startled. Her green eyes met Preston's, and in them he saw something he recognized, the exhaustion of fighting to be seen as human. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, wiping her face. "I didn't mean to. I'm fine." But she wasn't fine, and Preston knew it. He knelt down to Harper's level. "Hey, sweetie, why don't we see if this nice lady wants some company?" He looked back at the woman. "I'm Preston. This is Harper. And if I'm reading this situation right, someone just made the worst decision of their life by walking away from you." The woman's lips trembled. 23 minutes. That's how long he lasted after seeing the wheelchair. Her voice cracked. "We'd been talking online for 2 months. He knew about the accident. He said it didn't matter. But the second he saw me sitting here, his face just changed." Preston felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice gentle. "What's your name?" "Mallory. Mallory Ellis." "Well, Mallory, would you mind if we joined you? Because Harper here has been begging me for hot chocolate all afternoon, and honestly, you look like you could use a friend right now." Mallory hesitated, then nodded. As Preston pulled up a chair and Harper climbed onto his lap, the story spilled out. She'd been a dancer, not professionally, just someone who'd loved movement, loved feeling alive in her body. 2 years ago, a drunk driver ran a red light. The impact shattered her spine at T12, complete paralysis from the waist down. The physical therapy was hard, but the hardest part? Watching people decide, "I'm not worth knowing anymore." My fiancé left 3 months after the accident, said he couldn't handle it. My friends stopped calling. Everyone treats me like I'm broken. "You're not broken," said Harper suddenly, her small voice serious. "You're just sitting down. I sit down all the time." Mallory laughed through tears, a real laugh, surprised and genuine. "You're right, sweetheart. I am just sitting down." Preston watched Mallory's face soften as Harper chattered about her stuffed unicorn, her preschool, her uncle who makes computers think. He noticed how Mallory's eyes lit up when she talked about her work as a graphic designer, and how her hands moved expressively when she forgot to be self-conscious. "Can I ask you something?" he said, after a while. "What made you decide to try dating again?" Mallory's smile faded. "Honestly, loneliness. I've been so isolated for so long I started to believe maybe I didn't deserve connection anymore. Tonight was supposed to be proof that I could still be wanted. I guess I got my answer." "No," Preston said firmly. "That got proof that he was too small-minded to see what's right in front of him. That's his failure, not yours." They talked for 2 hours. Preston learned that Mallory had fought through 9 surgeries, learned to navigate a world that wasn't built for her, and still found ways to create beauty through her art. She learned that Preston had lost his sister, Harper's mother, to cancer 3 years ago, and had been raising Harper ever since. "Some days I feel like I'm failing her," Preston admitted. "I'm not her mom. I don't always know what I'm doing." "You're here," Mallory said softly. "You showed up. You stayed. Sometimes that's everything." The words hung between them, weighted with meaning neither had intended, but both felt. As the cafe prepared to close, Preston made a decision. "Mallory, I know this is forward, but I organize a community group. People with disabilities, their families, healthcare advocates. We meet monthly, share resources, support each other. Would you consider coming? Not as a date, I added quickly, but just as someone who deserves community. Mallory's eyes welled up. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Preston thought of his sister, of the nights she'd cried because her illness made her feel invisible, of the countless people he'd seen dismissed because they didn't fit someone's narrow definition of normal. Because 3 hours ago, someone looked at you and decided you weren't worth their time, and I think that's the kind of cruelty the world has too much of already. I'd rather be the person who sees you, really sees you, and says, you matter. 6 months later, Mallory had become a regular at Preston's community group. She'd designed their website pro bono, started an adaptive art class for kids, and slowly rebuilt the confidence that had been stolen from her. Preston and Harper visited her studio often, not out of pity, but because they'd discovered something rare, genuine friendship. One evening, as Harper drew pictures at Mallory's drafting table, Mallory turned to Preston. I need to tell you something. That night at the cafe, I'd been sitting there thinking, maybe the world would be better off without me in it. I was tired of fighting, tired of being invisible. And then you stopped. Preston's throat tightened. Mallory, she continued, you didn't save me, but you reminded me I was still here, still whole, still worth knowing. Sometimes that's all someone needs. Just one person to stay when everyone else walks away. Harper looked up from her drawing. Uncle Preston says everybody's important, even people in chairs, even people who are sad, even people who feel lonely. Mallory smiled through tears. You're right, Harper. As Preston and Harper left that night, Mallory called out one last time. Preston, thank you for seeing me, for staying, for reminding me that kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's just about being present when someone needs you most. Preston nodded, his own eyes wet. Thank you for letting us in, for showing Harper what courage really looks like. Driving home, Harper asked, Uncle Preston, will we see Miss Mallory again? Yes, sweetie. I think she's going to be in our lives for a long time. Because in the end, it wasn't about the date that failed. It was about the moment a stranger chose to stop, to see, to stay, and in doing so, reminded someone that they were never invisible at all. Sometimes the greatest act of love is simply refusing to walk away when the world tells you to. Sometimes kindness is just one person saying, I see you, you matter, and I'm not going anywhere.